Well, hello to all my friends in the Quaker State. Were that I there with you, but it's good to be able to join you virtually in any event. Look, first thing to be said, Interfaith Power and Light's one of the great um, operations in the whole world. I was last week in San Francisco to give a talk at Grace Cathedral Home Church to one Sally Bingham, and it was wonderful to see her as always and to be able to salute her and everybody else who's made IPL such an important thing. And you guys are in an important place. Look, Pennsylvania has played its long role in the in this fossil fuel story. It's where, in a certain sense, it all started with those first Rockefeller wells. It's where we started wising up to some of the effects of pollution with that toxic smog at Denora. It's where, sadly, the frackers have had their way more than any place else in the East Coast. It's where you guys are helping spark a movement that's going to turn all that around. You've gotten some sense of what that movement looks like this fall. A few of you I know were up in New York for the Great Climate March in September. It wasn't just big, and it was big, the biggest demonstration about anything in this country in a long time, bigger than we thought. I apologize if you had to stand for a while there on Central Park West, but I don't apologize too much. I got to say, I'm awful glad it was as big as it was. But it wasn't just big, it was broad, it was diverse. It did not look like the old stereotypes of the environmental movement. It looked the way it needs to look, with frontline communities and indigenous people taking up the lead ranks. It was a beautiful day. And it gives us wind in our sails, to use a appropriate renewable energy metaphor for the voyage ahead. It wasn't just that march that day. It was that evening that the Rockefeller family announced that they were getting out of the fossil fuel business altogether, selling their investments. That's a big deal if the people who started it all now think that it is immoral and unwise to be doing this. What excuse have the rest of us? We've got to do two things. We've got to play defense against bad projects as hard as we can. And you guys know what some of those are. You're there on the Marcellus Shale. You understand what that fracking business is like. You know the other threats that are going on around Pennsylvania. We've got to play defense against bad stuff, and we'll keep doing it. That's what the Keystone fight was about. It's why people are working so hard on these LNG ports on the East Coast, coal ports on the West. It's why our crew at 350 in the Pacific Islands was taking last week homemade traditional canoes and using them to blockade the biggest coal port in the world in Australia. All of that is happening. But we also need to play offense against the fossil fuel industry. We need to change the political balance here. We need to not financially bankrupt them, but politically bankrupt them. And that's what this divestment fight is about. It is a fight that is going well. That the World Council of Churches decided it should divest this summer on behalf of 580 million Christians. That was a good thing. That university after university, Glasgow in the UK, Australian National University down under, Stanford, and the University of Dayton, and on and on and on in our country. These are all very good signs, but we need you to push this much harder. We could use some of the colleges that Pennsylvania is famous for doing the right thing. We're very grateful for the work that you guys are engaged in. And we know that you're coming up with all kinds of good plans. We've got lots of opportunities. It's going to be a big year coming up with the negotiations in Paris, but I wouldn't spend too much time focused on all those kind of things. What we've got to do is build this movement and build it broad and big. And some of that means doing good things close to home, helping people when they're weatherizing or putting up solar panels. Some of it means fighting bad things like fracking or oil trains. And a lot of it means joining in these few big international efforts that are really starting to bite in, like the divestment fight. I know you guys will figure out exactly how to do this all, and IPL will be at the center of it. Pennsylvania, after all, is heir to one of, if not the great religious tradition on this continent, one that's always been renowned for its social insight and willingness to stand up to unjust power. We've never needed that more. You guys are, you guys are in the right place at the right time, and I know that the rest of us can count on you to do what needs doing. Thank you so much.